June is PTSD Awareness Month, a time to shine a light on the condition that affects millions of Americans, including many who served our country. WSAV's Isabella Baez spoke to one local Army veteran who is sharing his personal battle with PTSD and how he's now dedicated to helping other veterans and hope.
That's right, Ben. An illness of the mind, not a weakness. That's how retired U.S. Army Staff Sergeant James Collins describes PTSD, saying he uses his personal journey with deployment-related trauma to help other warriors and families.
Not the only one with those symptoms. You're not the only one with those feelings.
Feeling called to serve his country, retired U.S. Army Staff Sergeant James Collins enlisted in the United States Army right after 9/11.
In that time of terrorism, so I joined with the intention of going to war, and that's what happened.
By 2010, he had 2 deployments under his belt, spending 27 months in Iraq, saying he was sent home a different person.
So it really changes your identity. It turns you into a person who has to keep themselves alive, and you have to do whatever it takes to keep yourself alive.
Collins saying PTSD looks different for everyone, but for him, it came as feelings of uncertainty.
I was in a vicious cycle of taking sleeping pills to try to end the day, just to start over the next day, and no one saw that vicious cycle.
He shares dark moments of times he didn't think he would come out of.
I had a lot of secondhand attempts in Iraq where I put myself in harm's way to end up in a body bag and come back home with a flag draped over me, because I felt like that's the only way I would get respect, and it never happened. I lived through all of it. I came home, and then I failed twice at taking my own life, and then I knew I had a higher purpose.
Collins says he's now on a different mission by helping other soldiers and family members. He founded Heroes in the Sky, a foundation that honors warriors and uplifts voices of families who lost a loved one by suicide. He also works for Haven Islands Counseling, an organization that provides therapists for those who suffer from extensive trauma.
It's a strength. If you are struggling, it's okay to admit you're struggling. Use your support system around you, but it's a strength. Hang tight, stay in there, because tomorrow needs you.
Colin also says if you need help to reach out, and more information on Heroes in the Sky Foundation and Haven Islands Counseling will be linked on our website at WSAV.com. As well, Baez, WSAV News 3 on your side.
Isabella, thank you. New tonight, a teenager is under arrest in a shooting investigation on Savannah's west side. Police say 17-year-old Michael Ingram has been arrested in connection to a June 24th aggravated assault in the 900 block of West 51st Street. When police got there, they say they found a man who told officers he was shot at while on his property and returned fire. Investigators later received word from a local hospital that a teen identified as Ingram was being treated for a gunshot wound. The investigation is ongoing, and anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers at 912-234-2020. The Chatham County District Attorney is now investigating the death of a detainee who died after a medical incident at the Chatham County Detention Center last year. Body camera video shows Savannah Police arresting 44-year-old Carlos Gutierrez for criminal trespass and obstruction in November 2025 before taking him to the Chatham County Detention Center. Once inside the facility, video shows Gutierrez being restrained after a struggle with deputies. According to an officer's report, he was later cleared by medical staff for intake before suffering a medical emergency shortly after. He died at the hospital about a week later. Savannah Police say their role ended once he was accepted for intake at the jail, while the sheriff's office says it has no record of taking him into custody officially and no intake paperwork. Officials say an autopsy was requested, but results are still pending. The GBI also says a request to open a formal investigation was made months after the incident, but was denied due to the time that had passed. We now know the identity of the pilot killed in a plane crash in Tattnall County. Officials say that Tony Zorn of Lyons was the only person on board the aircraft when it crashed just before 6 o'clock Wednesday night on Highway 144 in Glenville. The Federal Aviation Administration says investigators are now trying to determine whether the aircraft was a registered airplane or an unregistered ultralight. We'll continue to bring you the latest as more information becomes available. The owners of a Claxton restaurant and bar say they're working to reopen after their business was shut down following a deadly shooting earlier this month. WSAV's Evan Smoke explains why the business remains closed and what the owners say needs to happen before they can welcome customers back.
In the days following the fatal shooting here at the Creole Restaurant and Bar, its owners are saying the business was shut down due to code violations. Shots rang out at approximately 2:29 a.m. on June 14th in a large crowd that was still gathered 2 hours after closing.
When they see something open, they follow in. And everything was good when it started off, unfortunately, is a shooting happened with an incident between two young men for something way back, but this don't have nothing to do with this club. It happened outside.
Javion Yeomans was later arrested on charges, including felony murder for shooting and killing Jamari Johnson that night. Business owners tell me Johnson was the son of Gregory Johnson, the man who was killed in a shooting in Statesboro on May 5th. The Creole Restaurant and Bar actually hosted a fundraiser for the Johnson family after that shooting. The owners say that they believe their business now being shut down is the result of discrimination.
The key thing is got so much money and trapped up in this business here and everything, and then they come and shut the place down. And saying that the fire marshal told them to shut it down, that it wasn't up to code. But the previous owner that was here was Iron Eagles. Everything was coded. There wasn't no problem. There wasn't no incident there with them. There wasn't no incident here.
WSAV reached out to Evans County Sheriff Mac Edwards, who says the violations referenced by the establishment came from a state agency. Edwards said in part, quote, "This issue is they are not up to code for the amount of people they allow in the business, and the safety violations they've been cited are by the state fire marshal." Business owners say they hope to submit the updated blueprints to the state fire marshal tomorrow and reopen their business as soon as possible. Reporting from Claxton, Evan Smoke, WSAV News 3, on your side.
Alec Murdaugh's attorneys are asking a judge to move his murder retrial out of Colleton County. It is one of several new motions filed ahead of Monday's hearing in Lexington County. The defense argues years of media coverage make it impossible to find an impartial jury in Colleton County or neighboring Beaufort or Jasper. Murdaugh's attorneys are also asking for independent testing of DNA found under Maggie Murdaugh's fingernails. Investigators previously determined the DNA belonged to an unknown, unrelated male, but no additional testing was done. Murdaugh was granted a new trial last month for the murders of his wife and son after the South Carolina Supreme Court ruled that former Colleton County Clerk Becky Hill improperly influenced the jury. New tonight, a South Georgia community is looking for answers after an alligator was found killed and hanging from a tree in a public park. State wildlife officials are now asking for the public's help as they investigate. The Georgia Department of Natural Resources says game wardens responded to Langdale Park in Valdosta yesterday after receiving a report of an illegally killed gator. When officers arrived, they found the alligator hanging from a tree limb near the river. Officials have not released any information about possible suspects or a motive, and they are asking anyone with information to come forward. A Ridgeland man has been sentenced to prison for a hit-and-run crash that killed a pedestrian in Beaufort County nearly 7 years ago. A Beaufort County jury found 41-year-old Clinton Brown guilty of hit and run involving death in the 2019 crash that killed Radidra Holmes. Prosecutors say Brown was leaving a party on Cleveland Drive in Shell Point after a fight when he hit Holmes with his pickup truck. Investigators say Brown stopped after the crash, saw damage to his truck, then drove away without calling for help. He later returned to the scene with his stepfather and found Holmes in a ditch about 45 minutes after she was struck. Emergency crews took Holmes to the hospital where she died from her injuries. Brown was sentenced to 8 years in prison, followed by 3 probation, and ordered to pay a $10,000 fine. A packed agenda at Savannah City Council today with votes on major projects, development deals, and transportation improvements that could impact residents across the city. WSAV's Tyler Nicole with the details.
City Council started off with several different performances to commemorate America's upcoming 250th birthday. The legendary Huxley Scott started the meeting with a proclamation from Mayor Van Johnson.
But now I take the opportunity as the Mayor of Savannah to proclaim Huxley Scott official Savannah Music Ambassador.
The first of many agenda items that could impact you, the Savannah Airport. It's getting an upgrade and expansion. City Council unanimously approved 9 agenda items that will provide over $20 million in funding for the project to be completed.
Mr. Mayor, move for the approval of item number 35.
Second. Been properly moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes and 1 recusal. Thank you very much. Let's go back.
Well, museums are not allowed to sell alcohol on Sunday just yet. Council opted to amend Sunday alcohol sales requirements to allow for alcohol to be sold with the purchase of a museum ticket instead of requiring food to be sold. They tabled that decision for a vote at the next meeting happening in 2 weeks. More affordable housing is on the way. Council approved the transferring a vacant lot at 715 East 38th Street to become development for affordable housing. And a new project is on the way. Council also approved the acquirement of easements from Frogtown Properties LLC to build Cone Street Multimodal Connection Project. It's aimed at making parts of the city more accessible. Tyler Nicole, WSAV News 3, on your side.